So, I'm back where I belong, of the woods, walking the old dog. Been to visit the old shelter. I don't know who built it, of course, but been to have a look. It's still up, but there are some missing logs, and some of the bark on the trees have been cut off. So obviously there's been some human activity and a lot of litter. I'm not particularly impressed by that, but I've collected some of that litter, so it's not too bad now. Well, it's what you really what do you expect? You know, there's not much to do in this village, and if someone finds a shelter in the woods, that's somewhere we can hang out, I suppose. Keeps young people out of trouble, I suppose, doesn't it? Anyway, I have not been a neat recently. I've been working because I needed a little bit more money, and I make sure that the old dog is spoilt. You know, he gets well fed. But if I want to continue to feed him, I've got to feed myself. And I've had to pay for a few bills that have sort of drained me. But so I had been looking for jobs that that I have a qualification for. So I thought, you know, I apply for jobs like that quite regularly anyway, and I never hear anything back. So I can't get a decent job that I'm actually qualified to do. So I got myself a little part-time cleaning job, and it turns out it was absolutely not worthwhile at all. I think that's an understatement. Probably one of the worst jobs I've ever done. Absolutely dreadful. So I think I got it because I showed up in a suit. You know, I didn't need to show up in a suit, but I was definitely the best dressed person there. So they thought, oh, he's making an effort, let's just give him the job. So that reminds me, actually, when I applied for McDonald's when I was about 18, I was well dressed, and I remember the interview went quite well, but I remember the bloke asked me, and he said, who was your role model? So I'm thinking someone who was relevant to working as a fry cook, you know. So I said SpongeBob SquarePants, because I said he's punctual, you know, very efficient, gets the job done, all that sort of thing. And I thought that was a good answer, but he laughed. But oh well. Yeah, I didn't get the job, which is a shame. I should have done. That was a good answer, I think. I should have got that job. Anyway, yeah, this was one of the worst jobs I've ever done, this cleaning job, right? So, yeah, they give me the job almost straight away, right? And it's to do with like cleaning houses and stuff. Minimum wage, fucking terrible shit job. But it's even worse than that. It's so bad that I honestly thought, if I keep doing this, I'm going to end up fucking committing seppuku or something, because it's just awful. So, you know, I show up, obviously not in a suit. I'm wearing casual wear, stuff that I wouldn't normally wear, so it doesn't really matter if it gets ruined. So I'm expecting to work with older women, right? Mums, right, who are desperate for money. Even those kinds of even those people don't want to work this job, right? Even mums don't want to work this job. Because I show up, and the people I'm working with are, they don't even speak English. None of them speak English. There's some skinnies, African people. There's a little Albanian, like a 5'4" Albanian fella. There's there's several Slavs there, and then there's an African woman who's there as well. No young people, but these are all older foreign people, right? The boss can't speak English properly. The people I'm working with can't speak English properly. I don't really understand what they're saying, and they don't understand what I'm saying. Okay? And I thought, all right, well, it doesn't matter. I'm here for the money. Let's just get working and get the job done, you know. So I found that I was the most productive person there, right? But the job itself, absolutely fucking awful, right? The job is so grim, so rough, where, you know, you have to clean these fucking rental places out, and there's bags everywhere. These homes are like owned by Pakistani landlords, right? And you know they let whoever come in there and turn the house into a complete shithole. These are houses that are old houses. These are Victorian English houses, right? And they get turned into absolute shitholes, an absolute mess. And these black bags everywhere, stacked everywhere, because they don't know how to use a wheelie bin, right? They don't know how to put shit in a wheelie bin. You've got nappies on the floor. The place stinks of shit, and also stinks of stomach acid. I don't know what, like, the worst possible smells you could imagine. Like, they give you a mask, right? You put a mask on. You need a hazmat suit. You don't just need a mask, you need a fucking hazmat suit. It's so, this bad for the health, right? Bad for your health. But the people I was working with, they don't want to be there. They can't be asked to do anything, and also they ain't got a clue what the fuck you're saying, right? And I just thought, oh, fuck it, I'm just gonna get on with the work, you know. Who cares? But I'm carrying on, you know. I'm getting stuff done. I'm getting loads of stuff done. The most productive person there, right? And then at the end of the day, the boss comes in, and then you get a bollocking because you weren't working hard enough. Not because of me, but because everyone else I was working with was letting us down, right? The old Albanian fella, he looked at me as if he despised me. He sort of looked at me and sort of glared at me. You know, I turned up friendly, you know. I said hello, and I was friendly to everybody, you know. But anyway, I come in and I'm friendly to him, and I get the impression initially that this guy, he can't speak English. So I guess that's what the issue is with this guy. And he kind of stares at me like and sort of glares. I thought, okay then, well, I've got a job to do. You know, I don't know what your problem is, but I've got a job to do. I don't care. So they told me to go and find this Albanian bloke, because he had something disinfectant or whatever, and they said he's the one who's got it. Can you go and get that from him? And I went off to go find him, and I found him, and he's like standing outside in the garden, fucking having a cigarette, and literally that's all he did. I never saw him working, and he's standing outside having a cigarette, right? And I went up to him and I said, "You right, mate? You got the bottle on you at all? You know, someone needs it indoors. Can I have it, please?" And so he just stands there, and he's just smoking his cigarette slowly, and he's just staring at me and glaring at me, not replying, right? So I think, oh, I guess he doesn't understand what I'm saying. So I repeat myself, and I say again, and he just continues to stand there and just sucking his on his cigarette, staring at me, right? And so and I'm like, okay, well, I asked him, so there's nothing else I can do. I'm gonna have my lunch then. So I go and sit down, and I start having a sandwich, obviously after I've washed my hands. So I sit down and I'm having a sandwich, and he comes over, and he's like, just as I start eating the sandwich, he comes over with the bottle, walks over with the bottle, and gives it to me, and he's like, here, and I'm going, too late now, I'm eating. So if you're going to be funny with me, I'll be funny with you, innit? Everybody working there had like 1,000 yard stare. Nobody wanted to talk, and I don't think most people there knew how to communicate, because of being foreign. And it's really grim and depressing seeing an old English Victorian building like that just going to become ruins. This is a home that should be inhabited by native families, right? A native family. Instead, it's owned by a Pakistani landlord who just lets it turn into a complete shithole. So yeah, it's rough. So I thought, everybody else is like dragging us down, and I'm like, I'm the most productive person there, and then the boss comes in and he moans and he fucking complains that that it's not being done quick enough, and I'm thinking, it's not my fault. It's honestly not my fault. I'm carrying everybody else. And so and I think I don't belong here. This job is fucking shit. Nobody can speak English properly, and I'll probably end up getting a bollocking for everybody else. So I thought, I don't want to be here anymore. This is a fucking grim job. After a while, I'm gonna fucking kill myself. So I decided to just pack it in. I just decided to quit. I called the number. I said I want to quit, and then the woman was just like, oh, okay then, and then she hung up, and that was as simple as that. That was literally all. That was literally all that was. And so so they probably get people quitting all the fucking time. So yeah, I mean, I would much rather go to an old lady's house in the village to clean her house for free. I would much rather do that than do this job, right? Yeah, absolutely terrible. So yeah, that's basically where I've been over the last week or so. But yeah, I'm back as a NEET now. Yeah, it's crazy. I can't get a decent job, or a job that I'm actually qualified to do. It's so shit. This country is an absolute mess, but this is how it is. This country is an absolute fucking mess. This country is indeed a island of strangers. When I heard him say that, I immediately thought, that I've heard that before. Island of strangers. I've heard that before. So I thought, where have I heard that before? And I thought, have I said that before? So I got out my old notebook, and I got a notebook from like pages and pages of notes that I've been writing of video ideas, and that's what I've been writing in that book much more recently. However, I've been using that book since the Manchester attack in 2017. So that's when I first used that book to basically write notes about my own experiences and what I think how this country has, deteriorated, and basically a theoretical plan to create my own party if I were to go into politics. I'm not much of a public speaker, to be honest, so it's not something that would happen. However, it's something that if I were to do something like that, this is what I would do. And so there's loads of pages of my witness statement of this country, so I have gone back through these pages, and I found a page which is called the decline of social cohesion, and literally the first line is that this is now an island of strangers. And I thought, I said that first. So basically what I'm saying is that I'm going to sue Keir Starmer for plagiarism. But obviously I'm joking. But reading back, it's quite interesting. Unfortunately, I can't read all of it because I'm afraid I can't read some of my own handwriting, but a lot of it is quite interesting. It's just pages and pages and pages. I suppose you could say a manifesto, and a manifesto, and also a witness statement as well of the decline of this country, and my appreciation for this country and how disappointed I am that it has become the way that it has. I was very disappointed with the complete lack of action from the government and from the authorities and stuff to actually do any kind of mass deportations after the Manchester attacks, which we should never forget and never forgive. This theoretical party that I wanted to form, it was called the Britain Triumphant Party, and I've got a bit here that says about housing. If we can't even house our own people, then how can we be expected to house other people's people? And why should it be our responsibility to do so? There's another bit here that says I would allow financial incentives to encourage native partners to stay married and have many children. And an old English Victorian building, like I said, like I was cleaning, should be in the ownership of a native family, of a native indigenous family, instead of a foreign landlord who doesn't give a shit. But yeah, there's lots of notes and lots of other things I talk about in my notes. I am not an academic, and I do not believe you need to be an academic to speak the truth. Seeing the current situation and the absolute mess and shithole fucking the towns and the cities have become, I think let's just sit back and wait for the collapse. Just let it collapse. It's over.
This council has been disbanded.
On whose authority?
Mine. These lawmakers, with their endless debates, have led Krypton to ruin.
And if your forces prevail, you'll be the leader of nothing.
Then join me. Help me save our race. We'll start anew. We'll sever the degenerative bloodlines that led us to this state.